Hi everybody, I'm Lacy Schoen, founder of Real Women, Real Success. Today we're going to be talking about a very light topic, how to be a powerful woman. And some of you might say, oh my gosh, I'll never be a powerful woman because I am never going to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, or I'm never going to be a senator or whatever. And I want to dispel that myth right now, that being powerful has nothing to do with being a big corporate CEO or being a millionaire or being famous or influencing a broad array of people. Not necessarily. What a powerful woman is someone who is happy and she's able to achieve her goals and she's able to meet challenges that stand in the way of her and her goal with tenacity and with passion. So being a powerful woman is about personal power. There aren't many instances where you couldn't have done something, it just wasn't on your path, or maybe you weren't willing to devote what it takes. You know, sometimes certain levels of success take a lot of effort, and maybe we're not willing to put in that amount of effort. It doesn't mean we're not powerful, and it doesn't mean we don't have personal power. So what is a powerful woman? How do you define the behaviors of a powerful woman? The first thing I'm going to say is compare yourself to others and don't compare yourself to others. So the way you should compare yourself to others is if you are going to achieve a goal and you know others who have achieved it before you. One of the great paths to success is to look at what successful people did to get to their goal, and then look at where you are. And you look at that gap. Yes, you look at the gap between what they have and what you have. Not in a way that makes you feel bad or that makes you feel less than adequate, but just to find out what's the roadmap. What do I have to do to get there? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to build some relationships? Do I need to change my life in some way? Do I need to save some money? When you know what that gap is, you know, look, utilize and leverage the people who have gone before you, have earned success. Compare yourself and see where the gap is, and then implement the actions, if you're willing to get to that success. That's where it's healthy to compare yourself to others. Where it's not so healthy to compare yourself to others is where it makes you feel less than adequate, where it makes you feel like you failed, where it makes you feel as though you're in a competitive situation, or perhaps someone has more than you do. And when you think like that, you give away all your power. And that's not something that is accurate, because we all have personal power. The other thing a powerful woman does is she dispels power-robbing beliefs in her mind, and she acts out against them. So let me give you an example. I have heard on a number of occasions, and you might have too in the workplace, I can't move forward with this and such because it requires my boss's approval. I'm always having to go get my boss's approval. I can't act on this stuff myself. Well, okay, but you know, I'll tell you, in my career, I've had several employees who have come to me and actually said, hey, I want to be able to act more independently. I want to be able to make these decisions on my own. What would I have to learn to be able to get there? Or could I develop some sort of a policy or protocol that would allow me to act a little more independently in this area? And you know what I have found? The answer to that is almost always yes. So the one thing that these people did differently is they didn't allow their power to be mitigated by their boss. They said, I still have power, I still have creativity, I still have a brain. I'm going to recommend something that gives me more power. And in that act, they retained their power. Now, some of you might say, look, Lacy, I really do have a boss that is a bottleneck, and they're not flexible and they won't let us do certain things. There's a few thoughts I want to share with you. Number one, if that really is true, then there might be some things for you to consider. Number one, is that the place for you? If it's really that growth limiting, maybe it's time to move on to a different area. Could your boss be influenced by someone else? I have plenty of people in my career and success trajectory that did not believe in me and did not support me. And oftentimes, part of the solution to that, because I see myself as powerful, is to go find someone that influences them or that they respect, and influence and build a relationship with them, or get them on my side. And that's a totally valid thing to do. You have to be a little bit careful about it, because you don't want to be going over your boss's head and creating all kinds of problems for yourself that way. But if you think through that and see if there are maybe some opportunities, that's another way to deal with that. Otherwise, you may just be looking at it's time to move on so that you can grow. Powerful women take risks, and I know that risks are scary. Risk-taking is scary for a lot of people, but part of the challenge in that with your personal power is that risks are necessary to growth. In the case where there's learning lessons or a complete failure, it's just that, a learning lesson. It's part of the process and the roadmap to success, to power. So embrace that and be willing to take those risks. You know, there are very few people on the extra mile, and part of the extra mile is being willing to test things when others aren't willing to. You know, playing it safe does not get you to the place you want to go. It doesn't get you to the dreamland. It doesn't get you to your goal. So take those risks and embrace them, and embrace what they call in the military, embrace the suck, that fear when you're stepping off that platform into the abyss going, and I'm not suggesting you do things completely unknowingly, do your homework, but there's risk in anything that hasn't been done before. If you're going to make your mark and be original and create something new or create something that you're passionate about, there's risk involved, and that's something that you'll have to embrace. But when you do that, you're powerful, you're moving forward, you're not letting anything stop you, you're not letting fear take away your power. And that's a hallmark of a powerful woman. It's taking risks, not letting fear take away her power. I want to encourage you to use your intuition. You know, intuition is not necessarily embraced in the workplace. I have a personal story about intuition. I have not always had the best hires in my career of employees. And some of that has to do with always following the process, the analytical process that I've been taught over and over and over. And it's changed some over the years. I'm a professional development advocate. I'm always learning new processes, and there's always something new to do in the hiring process. But the implication when you're taught these things is that if you go through this process, you'll end up with the right person. And what I was failing to see, that maybe some of you have easily seen, but I didn't for a long time, is that if I had a gut reaction to someone, even if they made it through every level of the interview process and the screening process and the panel interviews and stuff, if I didn't feel right about them, they probably weren't right. And you know, I was right every time when I had that intuitive gut feeling. And I've learned to go with it, and I've learned that that analytical process is only 50% of the process. And I've told you before, I love men and I love women, but men can be very analytical when they're not. There's this huge movement towards conscious businesses and having a better dialogue with your employees and having more community-based activities within corporations and stuff. All of those things, whether they're being led by men or women, those changes in corporate America and in work environments, those are female skill sets. Those are the things that we were innately born with as the childbearing, child-rearing gender. And so when you look at those things, understand that it's not necessarily a matter of gender, it's a matter of characteristics, strengths, and skill sets. And what I think sometimes we fail to recognize as women is that we're born with those, and we can lean on those. We can lean on those heavily. And I have learned I can lean on my intuition heavily. Powerful women take action. And it's one thing to have a goal and have desires and have things that we want to accomplish, but taking the time to sit down and plot out what actions we're going to take to start to get to those goals, that is a characteristic of powerful women. They're action-oriented. They don't sit around and dream about their goals. They're out there doing things. They don't spend a lot of time worrying about spilt milk or things that didn't work out. They're on to their next move all the time. And that is being in a place of power, of moving forward, of forward momentum. And one of the things I want to share with you, if you may be one of those people who sometimes feels like, gosh, you know, I just don't know if I have all I need. Well, I just want to say you were born with the raw potential to be everything that you want to be and to live a life that you are absolutely in love with. And how many of us can say we are absolutely in love with our lives? You know, I am working on that personally. I'm getting really, really close. It took a lot of action taking on my part. But one of the things I think we all as women can lean on is we were born with the raw potential. You know, some of those skills I was talking about earlier that are needed in the world today. Think about it. We have ethics problems in our corporations. We have employee relations issues, all the things that we've talked about before. Most of the organizations in the world are being run by men. Again, I love men. The ones that should be in their positions are employing female skill sets, but we were born with those. We have the raw potential. So you can lean on that. It doesn't mean you might not have some things to learn, and it also doesn't mean that maybe you have enough already. You have to decide that, but you've got the raw potential to take action. You can be confident in who you are as a female because your skills are needed in the world today. Powerful women course correct along the way. And that means that when things start to get a little off track, it's not a situation where it's like, oh, well, that didn't work out and we're giving up. Or, gosh, that was an unfortunate thing that happened. That must mean that what I was working towards isn't possible. It really is sort of a blip on the radar. Sometimes we get caught up in the day-to-day, and sometimes we don't realize we've really veered off course. Or maybe if we have a savings plan and we spent a little bit too much, or we're on a diet and we ate a little bit too much. There are so many opportunities for women to say, oh gosh, I blew it. I guess that's the end of it. I can't make that happen. And that is completely giving away all your power. And it isn't true. It's just a blip. It's just a blip. It's okay to have those stumbles along the way. It's going to happen. Why? Because we're all human beings. That's why. And we just don't want you to give away your personal power. Powerful women don't give away their personal power. They may have a down day. They may have a time where they need to go through some grieving process or something for a loss or a failure, whatever. But they get back on the bike and ride. And that's course correcting and making those adjustments to stay on the path towards the life that we love, towards having a life that we're having a love affair with. Imagine being that happy. If we're not that happy right now, there's still more course correcting to do. That's the power position. That's the position that knows inherently I can move towards something better and I'm worth something better. And that is a belief system. And 6 things that powerful women do. And you are a powerful woman. You were born with these innate, raw potential strengths and talents. And you can utilize them. You can take them to the bank because they're what's needed in the world today. And my hope for you is that you utilize those talents to build a life that you're having a love affair with, that you're just so excited about, that you wake up every day and you get to do what you love and what you're passionate about. That's a powerful woman, and you're a powerful woman. So I hope this was helpful. I want you to go out there and have a great week. Please give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, there's a link down below so I can send you weekly emails about these free video trainings and success tools. So I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week.